Hi Underdogs, it's Stacy from Underdog Wellness, and today I'm bringing you a video for Pilates, but it's on the roller. Preferably you want a 36-inch one, nice and long, so that your tailbone through your spine can fit on the roller. I know they make some that are 24 inches or even smaller. For our purposes today, that wouldn't work, so you do want to make sure you have a nice long one. Okay, and let's go ahead and get started. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to sit on the very end of the roller, and then we're going to lay ourselves down so that our spine and the back of our head is fully supported by that roller. Feet are on the floor and knees are bent, and we're just going to start by breathing. So you do want to make sure that your neck is supported, the back of your head is supported, your arms can just rest by your side. Abdominals can be just comfortable to get started because we're just going to start with some breathing. But you want to make sure that you're gazing at the ceiling. I will try to be as clear as I can with these instructions so that you don't have to turn your head, hopefully, and look at the screen too much. So first things first, let's go ahead and just look at the ceiling, make sure your neck feels like it's comfortable, and let's just breathe. Just very simple, finding our breath. In and out through the nose, in the nose, out the mouth, whatever works for you, it doesn't matter. You just want to be able to settle and breathe. Now chin nods, we're going to bring our chin into our chest, and you'll feel the back of your neck lengthen out, and then we're going to tilt the chin back so that you have a lot of space underneath your neck. So let's bring the chin into the chest again, and then bring it back. And again, bring it into the chest again, and bring it back. And then let's go ahead and find neutral. So neutral should be that there's space underneath your neck and you feel the very back of your head on your roller. Arms are by your side. Let's get our feet, walk them a little bit closer so you feel like the knee is directly over the ankle joint. And we're gonna tilt the pelvis and release. So just tilt and release. So we did our chin nods. This is very similar for our low back. Tilt and release. And you could always do, if you don't have a roller, you can still do this entire series without the roller. It just doesn't give you that added little bit of trying to keep your balance, which forces your abdominals to work just a little bit harder to really stabilize you. But all of these movements can pretty much be done without the roller. And release. So let's go ahead and we're just going to drop the arms. We're going to kind of bring them out so that the shoulder comes directly out, or the arm comes directly out from the shoulder. And then palms are facing up. We're going to let the arms fall where they want to, but we should feel through the back of the shoulder, maybe even the front of the shoulder girdle. We should feel this. Should feel like stretching, but it might be fairly intense for some people. Just trying to open things up. Those areas tend to be, we round our shoulders because we're over computers or devices. And so this is a great way to stretch that out and counteract all of that. All right. So now we're going to send the arms up to the ceiling. I like to have my palms facing each other, but you could do this however you want to. And we're going to reach for the ceiling and let the shoulders come off of the roller, and then we're going to plug the shoulders back in and feel ourselves, give yourself a squeeze. Squeeze the shoulder blades around the roller. So we lift up and the shoulder blades come off, and then we come back down and you're actually going to squeeze the roller with your shoulder blades. So you've got a couple of movements here. You have the lift, you have the lower, but then you're going to do that little squeeze. Don't forget to do that part. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. And again, and lower. now we're going to do our W arm. So our palms are going to face away from us, face towards our knees. We're going to squeeze, and we're going to come on up. So it's like a W. When we squeeze the roller, the elbows come down nice and wide, and then we come back up. So our arms look like a W. And up. And last one. Give it a little squeeze. All right. Now we're going to flip the palms towards the ceiling. So the arms stay right where they are. We're in that kind of W position. These are called snow angels, but it's basically the same movement. We bring the arm overhead, nice and long, and then we're going to bring the elbows towards the hips. So the palms, imagine like you have, your hands are holding trays of, cupcakes or cookies or, drinks or water or whatever. But you keep your hand nice and flat so that you don't spill that tray of whatever it is you've got a tray of. So nice and flat, those elbows stay high, they don't touch the ground. Everything is nice and level here. And we've got one more right here. Good. Now for circles, we're going to bring the arms long. We'll bring them up and down. So I like to go palms facing up for the first part of the circle, palms facing my knees, palms facing the floor, and then I flip my hand so that the palm faces the ceiling. It's kind of like when you do a sun salutation in yoga, the same kind of arm movement. And now let's reverse it. So the arms are going to go up, so towards over our head, palms are facing the ceiling. We swoop around, and then the palms will face each other as they head up towards the ceiling. If you're not facing your palms, and who cares? As long as you're making circles and you're breathing, you're fine. And one more. And then we'll bring our arms down, and we're going to have our forearms on the ground. So again, if you're on the floor, your arms are just going to touch the floor. But if you're on this roller, it's from your elbow down to your palm that's on the floor. So we're going to bring one leg up, that beautiful 90-degree angle, and then place it back on the ground. And then the other leg up and place it back on the ground. So we get the knee directly over the hip, and then we place it back down and directly over the hip. These are not super fast. There's a very, definite movement to this. There's a start and a pause, and we definitely keep that 90-degree angle with that leg. And you should feel yourself as you switch side to side. You'll kind of feel the roller maybe shift underneath you. You might feel that you lean a little bit more into one arm than the other. Ideally, we're trying to keep that balance, but that's okay. Okay, now we're going to walk the feet together. Knees are touching together. This one's a little more challenging. Make sure your powerhouse is pulled in, so your belly is into your spine. Your pelvis isn't tilted in either direction, trying to keep it nice and neutral. We bring both legs up together, and then as you start to lower those tippy toes back down, try not to arch your back. Sometimes it's harder, easier said than done. So trying not to arch the back, trying not to pooch the belly to the ceiling. Sometimes it wants to. And if you're feeling this in your back, you don't have to lower your legs. You could just do tiny movements. They do not have to touch the floor. So it could look like that. It could just be a tiny little knees over the hips. You send it away a little bit. You bring it back over the hips, okay? So it does not have to be large. And then we'll bring the legs back down. Okay. From here, we'll bring one leg up, other leg up, glue them together. And what we're going to do is we're going to try and touch opposite arm, opposite hand. So we're going to try and bring the right hand to the left knee and place it back down. And then left arm to the right knee and place it back down. So if you're on that roller, you're probably going to feel a little shifting side to side. The goal as you switch side to side is not to try and put all of your weight into your arm. It's really trying to keep the arm nice and light. And try to keep yourself as balanced as possible. You'll have some that you're like, wow, I'm doing really well. And then, of course, you'll start to feel yourself roll to one side or the other. Good. And then from here, we're just going to float. So same thing, we're going to float one arm, and then we'll float the other arm. So it's just a little bit different where the weight goes. I find this one a little bit more challenging than actually trying to cross the body. I don't know why. I would think it would be the other way around, but and lifting, and lifting, and lifting. Woo. And then we'll lower those feet down. Those are not easy. Okay, so then from here, we're gonna go into a peeling bridge. So we're back in our start position. We have our forearms on the ground, feet are on the mat. We can, if we want to, walk them a little bit closer in so that we have our knee directly over that ankle joint again. We're gonna rock the pelvis just like we did when we got started, but then we're gonna peel ourselves up and off that roller, hold it, and then we're gonna try and melt it down. So we keep our pelvis as high as we can, trying to melt through the spine first, and then the bottom touches, and then we send the hips away, and then again we curl, and we start to peel. We lift it up, and then we melt it, melt it, melt it, melt it, melt it, curl and lift, and melt it, melt it, melt it, melt it. 2 more times. As you're doing this, if for any reason, you start on the roller, but then halfway through your roller, it's bothering your back for any reason, you can always take it away and continue the movement without it. These can tend to be pretty hard, even though they do smush a little, but sometimes if your spine is on them for a long period, it can feel like a little bit much. Okay, so we set that down. So the next thing we want to do, so we've lifted the pelvis, now we want to try and lift the shoulders, so we're going to do some crunches. So we're going to stack our hands one on top of each other, okay? So it's like the little hammock. I think I've talked about that before in other videos. We're going to let our head rest in the hammock. So we don't interlace them. They are stacked one on top of each other, and then we let the head be super heavy, but we use our abdominals to keep the head lifted, and those elbows are wide. So we're going to take it to a crunch, and down, 2, and down, elbows are wide, 3, and down, 4, and down, 5, and down, 6, and down, 7, keep those abs pulled in nice and tight, 8, and lower down. So that's it, just 8 of those. And then we're going to go ahead and come off of our roller. We're going to place it where our feet are. So now our feet are going to go on the roller. And we'll do the exercises around that. So we lay ourselves down. Feet are on the roller, wiggling ourselves out, and then we'll lift ourselves up. So we're in this bridge. Now we're in a really high bridge. It gives us a little bit more of a inversion. We're lifted nice and tall, and we're going to take these legs and we're going to march them. So we march, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, trying to get that knee over the hip. 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower, and we'll come all the way down. Going into the 100, we're going to move where the roller is just for this particular exercise. So for the 100, the roller is going to go back here. We're going to lay our upper back on it. Feet are on the mat. But then we're going to lift ourselves up for the 100. So abs are pulled in nice and long. Let's pump those arms. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, and in. 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, and in. 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, and in. 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, and in. 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, and in. 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, and in. 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, and in. 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. In and in and come on down. All right, half rollbacks. We're going to put the roller back under our feet. So we're right here. Feet are together, knees are together. We're going to send our arms out nice and loose. Stay loose through the shoulders. We scoop ourselves back and up. 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 2 more. Back and up. Last one. Back and up. And then for the obliques, we're just going to roll to one side, come right back up, to the other side, right back up. So it's just down and center, other side and center, and down and center, and down and center. Last set, and center, and down, and center. Very nice. Okay, so we're going to go back to the long roller. We're going to sit on it again. I just want to make sure we can have long legs here. Okay, so you can sort of see my feet, long legs for the roll up. So for the roll up, so normally mat Pilates, your feet would be touching. For the roller, the wider your legs are, the easier this is, because if they were touching, you might actually fall off. Okay, so if you're finding it challenging, go wider with your legs. Otherwise, you can play with being more narrow. We'll send the fingertips to the ceiling, and we want to peel one vertebra at a time off the roller. So chin to chest, we look through our arms like a window. We start to peel ourselves up. We keep the arms parallel to the floor. We pull the belly back, and then we scoop and we roll it down just as slowly through the spine. Head back down, and again, we peel ourselves up. We lift, we roll. We try not to roll off. And roll it down, 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 down. And again, coming up. And down, 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 down. And again. And down, 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 down. One more. Let's come on up. And down, 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 down. Very nice. Arms go by our sides. We're going to come back into a little bit like what we did before, but this time it's just a little bit more challenging. So we're going to bring our leg up. We're going to do the toe taps, but we're going to keep both legs moving. So we look like this, and tap, and tap, and tap, and tap. Make sure your legs stay at that 90-degree angle. Don't let the leg drop. So you're moving from the hip as opposed to letting the leg drop for you. So what that would look like is just kind of that, okay? So keep it nice and big so the leg has to move. Good. And come up. Let's send our legs into frog. So we glue our heels together. We're going to send the legs out to a diagonal, bring them right back in. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Knees are apart here. 9, and then they squeeze together. And 10. We'll circle, we'll go up, around, up, and around, up, and around, up, and around. So they're together, and then they big separation, and they come back together. Let's reverse it. So it's open, around. These would be like if you were on the reformer, these two exercises. And we'll hug those knees back in. Wiggle your toes, make time for a breath or two. Going into scissors, we'll bring our legs up. We can lift our head and shoulders if we want to, and it's pulse, 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 pulse. You don't have to lift your head up if you don't want to. You can keep your head on the ground. Pulse, 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 pulse. Last set. And hug it in. I was feeling those. For the double leg, we'll start with our legs 90 degrees straight up to the ceiling, and we'll bring them down and up. Down isn't as important as feeling like you're lengthening out. So it doesn't have to, they don't have to touch the floor. You want to feel like you're sending them away and bringing them back, and sending them away and bringing them back, and sending them away and bringing them back. And last one, and bring it in. We can lift the head and shoulders again if we want to for singles, and we'll just bring a knee in and switch, 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 switch. Bring them both in, lower, take a moment. So gluing the legs together for this one. So different than frogs. Frogs, the heels were together, but the knees were apart. For this one, we're gonna try and keep the legs together. We'll send them out, bring them in. Out, bring them in. And we can lift the head if we want to, out, bring them in. Trying to keep our belly pulled in as much as possible, not letting it pooch to the ceiling or letting the back arch. We don't wanna do that. Really keeping those legs glued together, nice long body. Two more. And last one. And bring them in, hug them into the chest. You may not be able to hug because you don't want to let go. And then we can put one foot at a time onto the ground. And then we're going to come up to a seated position for the spine stretch forward. So we're going to sit on the roller, but we're going to send our legs out. And in fact, I'll move back just a little bit so you can hopefully see my feet. Good. There's some separation here, so the feet are slightly wider than the hips, maybe even slightly wider than the shoulders, or just on the very edge of the shoulders, but these are not very close together. We're going to send the arms straight up, and we're imagining there's a wall behind us, very tall, head is in line with the spine. Inhale, we grow really tall. Exhale, chin to chest, nose to navel, crown of the head to the mat. We pull the belly back, if you can see. And then inhale, stack up ourselves up taller, taller, tallest. And exhale, chin to chest, nose to navel, crown of the head to the mat. And stack up the vertebra, tall, tall, tall. Again, bring it down, pull the belly back. And tall, 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 tall. And again, pull. And lift, lift, tall. One more, we'll bring it down. And lift, tall, tall, tall. And release. Very nice. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to lay back down for the corkscrew. So we've got the forearms on the ground again. We're going to bring the knees into the chest, powerhouse pulled in. Legs up to the ceiling, glue those legs together. We'll bring our toes to our nose and we'll circle around, back to our nose. Reverse around, back to it. So these are not big circles. Otherwise you would fall off the roller. So you really feel the core working here. Doing our best to keep our feet glued together. There's always one that tries to go taller than the other. Just circling, stopping, reversing the circle, and stopping. And last one, and bring those knees in, and bring those feet down. We're going to come off of the roller for now. Okay. So for back extension, try to get that roller right there. Okay. We're gonna come nice and long. Try and get in here. There we go. Okay. So doing my best to keep my arms straight, and you can see my feet, my body is nice and straight. So back extension, we're just gonna lift a little bit. Think of like a cobra in yoga, and lower back down. And we lift, and we lower back down. So these are not fast. Abs are pulled in, our rib cage lifts off the ground, but there's no tension in the shoulders. I'm not jamming my shoulders up to my ears. Lift and down. One more time. And down. Good. And then the swan, we would come up a little bit higher and down. So it's just like an added version. You lift a little higher and down. So do you see the difference? My belly actually comes off the ground there. If that doesn't work for your back, don't worry about it. There's always kind of a warm-up exercise. Good. And then swimming, we're just gonna pump the arms and legs. And breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll lower down. Let's do the teaser. It's not Pilates without the teaser. So again, try to line ourselves up here. We're gonna sit back on the roller. And you want your feet pretty far away from the roller. Feet and knees are together, so let them touch. We'll start here, the teaser prep, and we'll roll a little bit back and come right back up. And a little bit back, and right back up, and a little bit back. So this really gives you feedback. Sometimes in our teaser, we tend to roll to one side over the other, and the roller won't let you do that. You really got to be on your game so that you don't start to fall off. Woo! I feel that. And these are just teaser preps too, because if we try to lift our legs in the air, you think you're good at teasers and then you add the roller and boy. Let's do one more. And right back up. Nice job. We're gonna come off of that. We're gonna go into planks. So actually, I'm gonna put my head that way. So my feet, my shins are gonna go here. Okay, so there's the shins. And we're in a plank. So forearms on the ground, nice long body. And we're breathing here. Try not to collapse in the center. I know my shirt looks like it is, but I'm tucked up, hopefully. Breathing, breathing, breathing. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's turn to the side so our legs are both on that roller. Trying to keep our hip lifted. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rolling to the other side. So we hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming back in. So we'll let our knees touch the ground so that we can get our hands underneath us for our ab roll-ins. So we're here. We're going to try and put the shins on, and then we roll it in. So we could even do a little bit more. And then send it out. Bring it in to the ankles and out. Bring it in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, and we'll come on down. Nice job. Going into shell stretch. We have the roller in front of us. Shell is in Pilates is like child's pose in yoga. So we'll keep our hands here, and we're just gonna roll it forward and let our head drop between our shoulders. Breathing here. And then if we want to, we can just try and thread the needle. So we can keep ourselves low here, or if we want to move our legs back a little bit, we could. And then we will thread the needle. So we bring our arm to the floor, underneath this arm. The side of the head touches the ground. And we breathe here. Let's go on to the other side. So we come on up. Same thing, we're just going to thread the arm through. Side of the head touches the ground. And we'll come back up. And we'll just take it back down again. And come on up. Little cat-cow. We've got our shoulders directly over our wrists and our hips directly above our knees. Inhale, lift the head and arch. And exhale, pull the belly up and round. And again, arch. And round. And back to normal. From here, we'll take our roller. We're nice and sideways. And we'll send our ankles onto the roller. Flex those feet towards you. We should be getting into the calves and the hamstrings. And I like to put my hands behind me and just sit up nice and tall. You could then start to walk yourselves forward a little bit and just see what the body's telling you. We're trying not to round the back. We want to stay as tall as we can. So we get into the back of those legs. And then we'll come on up. Going into the swan, this is, it feels really nice. It's one of my favorites, but it also gives you a little bit of rolling on your quadriceps. So, you know, that's the whole thing, is rolling the muscles out. So this one looks like this. The setup is that you're putting your quad onto the roller. Legs are together. They could be a little bit apart. Let me move up so you can see. There we go. So you can see that. All right. And then our hands are on the ground like we're doing a push-up. So we lift up tall with the arms, and then we roll down to the knees, and then we're gonna dive and lift the legs into the air. So you're rolling the quad as you're doing the push-ups. Because the roller rolls, it's not like a regular push-up. It shouldn't be, you know, making you feel like, whoa. abs are pulled in nice and tight here to protect your back. But that should feel nice, getting a little bit of rolling onto the front of those quads. Okay, for the spine stretch forward, we're gonna go wide. So we're gonna take a nice straddle, back so you can see my feet there. And the roller's just in front. So get your legs as wide as you can, let your feet flex towards you. And we just have a roller in front of us, and we're just gonna use our hand, we're just gonna roll it out and let it guide our body. And we only go to the point where we feel that inner thigh stretching out. We're trying to keep our chest a little lifted. Yes, we are leaning forward, but we wanna draw the shoulder blades back and not round or collapse. We still want that nice lifted, tall spine. And then we can go a little bit further, but again, my spine is still lengthened. And if I felt like I went too far, I can always roll it back and sit up a little bit taller. Abdominals are still pulled in. And you just kind of play with that. You see, if you're feeling any discomfort creeping up behind your knees, that's a sign to pull back, to come out of it. If you find that your feet are starting to flex or starting to point, keep them nice and flexed. So let's just breathe here. And then we'll lift ourselves up and we'll walk ourselves back. Good. And then from here, we're just gonna do one last stretch. So we've got our roller. And what we'll do is we're gonna bring one leg in and one leg up. And we're just gonna find that stretch there. So whatever that looks like, maybe our hands are here, maybe our hands are helping us to lift tall. Maybe we're just kind of guiding ourselves into it, whatever that works for you. I like to be tall. And then we'll do the other side. Again, trying to stay tall. Once you start to collapse, you kind of find that you continue to do so. And lastly, both ankles on. Let's cross one over the other and just see if we can find that stretch there. Notice if you're starting to bail out into your low back and see if you can keep yourself nice and tall. Let's switch legs. And release. Good. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. It's been a long time since I've done a video. I hope to do them more regularly, but I say that every time. I do appreciate you subscribing and liking, telling people about it, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye.